Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Mukanya, and I would like to welcome every single one of you on today's show. As in for every Monday, so we're going to look at some of the insane story from around the world. Number one, today we're going to look at the U.S., especially as they prepare to send cluster bombs to Ukraine. We're going to look at what it means for the escalation of the war. We also, the second story we going to look at will come from the insane country of the Netherlands. I said insane because of what has been happening there lately. And you'll find that very interesting, as the Netherlands will officially send the first contestant to Miss Universe beauty pageant later on this year. Will be a transgender woman. So a biological male who has won the competition in the Netherlands last week, and he has a place now in the Miss Universe beauty pageant. Imagine that. How crazy is this? And then we're also going to look at this BLM activist, former BLM organizer person out in Georgia, who was arrested by his own police officers. Once again, what crazy show. Uh, Arrested by his own police officers for breaking into a house that he had no business in. So is he going to resign? No, I don't think so. So we're going to look at that as well. And then we are going to react to a few crazy TikTok videos from out there. And you would just be thankful that, yeah, well, basically I've lost a few brain cells just watching these videos. And I'm sure that you guys will also feel like you are completely inadequate, really, when you listen to these people and the craziness that is out there. So those are the stories that we're going to look at. So please follow me, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. So without further ado, let's get into this. So, welcome back. As I was saying, our first story of the day has to do with the war in Ukraine. So, what has been happening there? Well, over the past week, the US, unlike their other allies, people like countries like the United Kingdom, Germany, and France, they have actually decided to send cluster bombs. Okay, so our first question, therefore, is to find out what are cluster bombs, what is the impact of the delivery of the cluster bomb will be on the war, and we're going to continue to ask the question of the moral high ground. What does that actually mean for the West, who are seeking who at least are presenting themselves in a way that where they pretend that they have some kind of more moral high ground. So we're going to find out all of that on today's show. So let's first find out what are cluster bombs. Okay, why were they banned, and why is the US trying or sending them to Ukraine at the moment? So without further ado, let's read this article by the BBC, and I will react to it. Okay, um, so the US has announced it's complying with a Ukrainian request to supply it with controversial cluster munitions. The move has been criticized by human rights groups as the weapon is banned by more than 100 countries. Okay. Cluster munitions are a method of dispersing large number of tiny bomblets from a rocket, missile, or artillery shell that scatters them in mid-flight over a wide area. They are intended to explode on impact, but a significant portion of that, meaning they don't explode initially. This happens especially if they land on wet or soft ground. Okay, they can then explode at a later date on being picked up or trodden on, killing or maiming the victim. From a military perspective, they can be horribly effective when used against dagging ground troops in trenches and fortified positions, rendering large areas too dangerous to move around in until carefully cleared. Okay, so they showed you here what they look like. So munition is fired from the ground or air. The bomblets are released. The bomblets fall on the ground. Not all detonate immediately. Now, in some cases, what they don't actually tell you, so they pretend that what they call the dead rate is very low, but in reality, the dead rate can be as much as 30% in some cases, because as you have read there, they don't all explode and they can cause serious damage to the person who later on may step on it, may pick it up, and then poof, the thing explode in the face, which will cause severe injuries and death. And coming myself from a country where some of those things like mines were used, I can tell you that those are really, really, really bad. Okay, so why are they banned? So more than 100 countries, including the UK, France, and Germany, have signed an international treaty, the Convention on Cluster Munitions, that outlaws the use or stockpiling of these weapons due to their indiscriminate effect on civilian population. So children are particularly prone to injury as the bomblet can resemble a small toy left in the residential or farmland area and are often picked up out of curiosity. So human rights groups have described cluster munition as abhorrent and even a war crime. Now, who still uses them? Both Russia and Ukraine have been using cluster munition since the start of the Russian full-scale invasion in February 2022. So remember, so this is the country that you're meant to support wholeheartedly. Okay? But they're using it anyways. So neither have signed the treaty banning them, nor has the US, but it has previously criticized Russia's extensive use of the weapon. Russia cluster munition reportedly have a dead rate of 40%, meaning large number remain a hazard on the ground, whereas the average dead rate is believed to be 20%. So the Pentagon estimates its own cluster bomblets have a dead rate of less than 3%. So how can we actually verify that? We don't. And this is the problem. So much longer, probably after the war has ended, these things will still be lying around, causing the death of kids. And they have no qualm, no questions that they can ask themselves, and that so that they can at least refrain themselves from using such weapons on openly. Okay, so these people who claim that they have a moral authority, these people who go around telling you that they will defend Ukraine to the end, they have no interest in actually doing the right thing, because the kids who are going to get killed by this are primarily civilians, and they're primarily their own people. How can a government use such weapons on their own land against their own people? This is just insane. So, as you have read there for yourselves. So, let's carry on. So, why is Ukraine asking for them? So, once again, this is from the BBC. But we're going to see exactly what it means. So Ukraine forces are running desperately low on artillery shells, largely because, like the Russian, they use them up as extraordinarily high rates, and Ukraine Western allies cannot replace them at the speed they are needed. In the largely static, grinding battlefront of southern and eastern Ukraine, artillery has become a key weapon. The Ukrainians now face a daunting task in trying to dislodge the invading Russians from the well-dug-in defensive position stretched along a 1,000-kilometer battlefront. In the absence of enough artillery shell, Ukraine has asked the US to restock its supply of cluster munitions to target the Russian infantry manning all those defensive trenches. Some experts say that by using cluster bombs to suppress enemy fire from the trenches, Ukrainian forces could gain precious time to help them clear the way through Russian minefields. But others say that there is no need for them, arguing the different type of conventional weapon could do the job just as well. This has not been an easy decision for Washington and is deeply unpopular with many Democrats and human rights advocates. The debate has been going on for at least 6 months. Okay, so the decision effect will be knocked away on the moral ground Washington sits on this war. I would argue that you don't have an actual moral high ground. It is insane to pretend that you do have a moral high ground. You don't. You are the people who have for a very long time supported this war. If you have any moral high ground, you will make peace with the Russians before this nonsense even happened in the first place. Not during, but before it happened. Because you knew it would get there and you did nothing because you wanted to benefit from this nonsense. Okay? That is just very simple. So Russia's numerous alleged war crimes are well documented, but this move is likely to draw accusation of US hypocrisy. Number one, you've always been hypocrites. Okay, these people have always been hypocrites. How many wars have been started by these people? Right, so to prove the point, they knew, and when I say that Russia had done initially everything in its power to negotiate in good faith with these countries, this country had no use and they didn't want to actually make peace with Russia. They never did. Okay, so let's hear here. So this dates back to last year in December. I don't know how many of you know that, but there was this peace talk before. So that was in 2014. So round about the time when those Republicans in the East broke away from Ukraine, because again, and I've mentioned it before, the Ukrainian government, because of the shift, this hyper-nationalistic shift in the politics, they absolutely wanted to suppress anyone who doesn't speak Ukrainian, or they even tried to suppress Russian to be spoken in administrative capacity. So once again, Ukraine has at least 30 to 36% of its own citizens who are Russian speaking. I did not see anyone in the West talking about these people as their own government stripped them of a key of their own language, of the church, and so on and so forth. Nobody in the West, I don't remember anybody in the media saying, well, perhaps this is a bad thing. I don't remember that. While they were shelling their own people, while they were killing their own citizen. This is insane. So no, you don't have a moral high ground. Do not talk to me about a moral high ground when it comes to
the decision on cluster munitions. Number one, look, I understand the rationale. It's been explained. You've painstakingly explained, and I know this is not a unanimous decision in NATO. But have we not lost our moral authority on something like this as a leader on this stuff when it comes to, look, we just got rid of our chemical weapons, and we've been trying to lead the world in getting rid of that, and we try to rhetorically lead the world in trying to get rid of these barbaric weapons, and then here we are now still going into our stockpile and giving them to an ally. Does that not harm our moral authority? Well, Chuck, our moral authority has not derived from being a signatory to the Convention Against Cluster Munitions. We have not been at any point since that convention came into effect. Neither has Ukraine. Our moral authority and Ukraine's moral authority in this conflict comes from the fact that we are supporting a country under brutal, vicious attack by its neighbor, with missiles and bombs raining down on its cities, killing its civilians, destroying its schools, its churches, its hospitals. And the idea that providing Ukraine with a weapon in order for them to be able to defend their homeland, protect their civilians, is somehow a challenge to our moral authority, I find questionable. I would say that we are stepping up to give Ukraine what it needs in order to not be defenseless in the face of a Russian onslaught. We are simply not going to leave Ukraine defenseless. The president was determined on that point, and we've remained.
So, you heard it for yourself, guys. As I said to you, these people, this whole war, for starters, is a farce. Because these people do not, I repeat, do not have any moral high ground. What they want is to slaughter as many Ukrainians. They will sacrifice as many Ukrainians as possible into this war. But the reality is they know. They knew it before Ukraine lost Bakhmut. They knew that there was just no way that Ukraine will win this on the battlefield. So John Mersheimer, when he does, I have mentioned him before, when he does explain, and I really hope that you guys will go on and watch this show, his talk, when he does cover these topics, and when he explains to people that there is simply no way for this conflict to end in a good way for either Russia or even Ukraine and the West. So, which means the battlegrounds are going to be frozen where they are. The people who wanted to go towards Russia, who have voted, once again, the will of the people, they voted themselves not to be attached to Ukraine anymore because they don't recognize the government that has killed them, that has been killing them for years now, when the West has been silenced for 9 long years. And they've said no more. No more of this stuff, and so they voted themselves to join Russia. By the way, what has been happening in Ukraine is a disaster, and it could all be avoided if all the people who are involved there had said, "Well, we shouldn't want," because again, for many people, Barack Obama in 2014 said himself that the US had no strategic interest in Ukraine. They didn't have any strategic interest in Ukraine. And then yet they found themselves there again, sacrificing as many Ukrainians as possible. This is insane, guys. So in my opinion, these people do not have any moral high ground to talk about. And I have stated it before. The Russians are never going to accept that because they have lived through it. Two of these armies. I'm just going to show you guys very quickly before I end this segment. On June 24, 1820, Napoleon Bonaparte and his Grande Armée crossed the Nam River, beginning what was soon to be a fateful, if not cataclysmic, invasion of Russia. Almost 129 years later, to the day, Germany began its own campaign into the motherland, finding, like so many others before it, that the road to Moscow was and almost always is paved with frostbite, starvation, and skulls. Okay, both sides fought with a demonic fury, according to the National World War II Museum, that resulted in the death of over 2 million German soldiers and over 24 million Soviet soldiers and civilians. Guys, for those people who do not know, Russia is never going to, after everything that they've spent defending Ukraine, Because those who do not know, do not understand how much you've just read there. 24 million people were dead trying to defend their homeland. They will never cease that. They will never do it. So, which means that the West knows that exactly, and yet they persist in that way. So, which means to me that they want to sacrifice as many people as possible. And for them, human life is nothing. So, in my book, they do not have any moral high ground when it comes to this issue. They do not have one. Russia defeated Napoleon Bonaparte in 1812. They defeated once again the German tanks who just crossed the border and wanted to invade Russia back in 1941, in June of 1941, and now German tanks again find themselves attacking Russia through Ukraine. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So, but that is it for me for this segment. So then we will look at the situation of what is happening in Georgia with the BLM mayor who was arrested over the past week and released on 11,000 bond. So stick with me, and we will look at that story next. Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Mukanya. So, welcome to the Unshackled Perspective with me, your host, Anthony Mukanya. So, our third story of the day comes to us from America, the United States of America, the land of the funny people who come up with all sorts of crazy things. I don't know how you guys do it, really, to my American friends. You guys are very, very interesting, and you have all sort of crazy people going, um, all sort of crazy people living there, uh, which I'm sure makes the idea of living there really, really fun. So anyway, thank you for joining me. And our next story, as I said, is this mayor. I don't know if you've seen it. It was in the news a few days ago, but basically this mayor went to what he described as an abandoned house. Don't know how he thought that, but that's what he claims. And then he was confronted by the owner of the place, and then he got arrested, and now he's out on bail. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So police arrest former BLM organizer turned Atlanta area mayor. Okay, so the mayor of a city in the Atlanta area, southern side, was arrested, charged, and released on Saturday. Khalid Kamal, South Fulton mayor since 2021, was charged with the criminal trespass and first-degree burglary. Kamal was found in a house along Cascade Palmetto Highway by the homeowner, who, according to local news outlet WSB-TV, allegedly held Kamal at gunpoint until police arrived. Montana Attorney General police released Kamal on the 11,000 bond. Kamal told police he was interested in purchasing the home, and that's why he entered it before 7 a.m., according to police report. Hey y'all, I'm good. I'm free. Kamal wrote on Facebook alongside a graphic of the Bible verse of Matthew 5:10. God is still using me, saying, stay tuned. Oh my goodness. South Fulton used a statement Sunday to address the concern raised in light of the recent allegation involving Mayor Khalid Kamal. The mayor has returned home, and we anticipate his return to service for the city, the statement read. We kindly request that you keep the mayor, council, and the entire city in your thoughts and prayers. The city of South Fulton is focused on serving our community, interim city manager Sharon Sabadan said in a statement. We will continue to ensure that our operations are conducted with the highest standard. Yeah, interesting. So let's watch a video of the incidents, a news clip, and then I will comment on that.
South Fulton Police and the staff and officers at Rice Street for their courteous and professional service throughout the day today.
Out from behind bars, but not out of trouble. We were there as the mayor of South Fulton bailed out of the Fulton County Jail as he faces burglary and trespassing charges. And that is exactly where we begin tonight. As city leaders say that city leader is in serious trouble. He's apologizing to those he serves. Thanks so much for joining us for Fox 5 News at 10. I'm Eric Perry. Now, the mayor, Khalid Camus, faces felony burglary and trespassing charges. Fox 5 Rob DiRienzo is live outside the Fulton County Jail. All right, Rob, we got him not only leaving the jail, but we were the only cameras there that got him in handcuffs, being put in a patrol car.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Eric. Well, the mayor apologized to Fox 5's Deidre Dukes for bringing negative attention to the city of South Fulton. I want to give you a listen to that exchange in just a moment, but a little while ago, he bonded out of the Fulton County Jail. Embattled South Fulton Mayor Khalid Camus seen leaving the Fulton County Jail Saturday evening after posting an $11,000 bond. He told reporters he was thankful for how South Fulton police and jail guards treated him. Earlier in the day, he was arrested on charges that he trespassed on this property on Cascade Palmetto Highway and committed first-degree burglary, which is a felony. Fox 5 was the only one with cameras rolling while he was still in handcuffs.
Mayor, why were you on that property?
I just wanted to see the house. I do apologize to the owners. I thought it was abandoned.
Sources say that the property owner held Camus at gunpoint until cops arrived, but police have yet to confirm that. In his mugshot at the jail, he smiled big, but minutes earlier outside the South Fulton PD precinct, he told Fox 5's Deidre Dukes he's sorry.
I apologize for the negative attention this has brought to our city.
His arrest is just the latest in a string of bizarre incidents in South Fulton since he took office last year. This past April, police shut down an Easter egg hunt he organized because he didn't have a permit. In March, city council members filed a lawsuit demanding his removal from office, saying he violated the city charter. In July of last year, he sued members of council, alleging they violated the Open Records Act.
I hope that the spotlight that is on our city right now will highlight some of the inequities that have been happening.
So you're guilty of the charges?
I think that's for the voters to decide.
And Eric, as you can imagine, there's a lot of lingering questions here tonight, including about that felony burglary charge. We're not clear on what he's accused of stealing. It also isn't clear what these charges mean for his mayoral seat. Of course, this is something we're going to stay on top of in the days to come. For now, that's the latest from here. Live outside the Fulton County Jail, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
So you heard for yourselves there, guys. We live in a world of crazy people. There's there's no other. Listen, this is what you get when you place a criminal in charge of a city. I will say that again. The men that you saw, all black men that you saw around him there, all of them, a black man and a woman, I think, and the person talking was also black. This is what problem that I have with African American culture, really. This mayor thought it was completely normal for him to go in someone's house, break in someone's house, and then pretend, oh, but I'm sorry, I was just there walking. I mean, this is ridiculous, guys. I think we can all agree that this is ridiculous. And who believes these idiots? If you believe this idiot, I have a house on Mars, then we can go on Mars. And you know Elon Musk rocket. In fact, it's not his, it's mine. We will take it, and then I will take you to Mars. and then I will sell you a property that does not belong to me, that I don't intend to build. But because you believe you're about to believe anything, I might as well do that. Put you on a plane and then we can go there. These people are insane. Hmm? These people are insane. Why are we allowing this to happen? Can someone explain that to me? Why are we allowing this type of people to have to even be in charge of cities with hundreds upon hundreds and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in them? This is insane, people. This is crazy. And this is what you get. You get crime. You had a mayor. And then you heard it there towards the end. He's like, he knows there's no consequence. So he's like, well, are you going to resign? Whatever. Yeah, that is for the voters to determine. He knows he's never going to face any consequence because he has at least one infinity stone of wokeness. And who wants to fire a BLM person and criticize him? But no, Well, what can I say, people? What can I say? This is crazy, and I hope he eventually is removed from office, for being a creep who broke into people's home, and I really really hope that he's going to be held accountable for his action, and if he isn't held accountable for his action, then what kind of example is this man setting for those younger than him, when for those people who also seek to attain a position of responsibility in the community, when he doesn't hesitate to break into a house that does not belong to him? It's insane, people. It's insane. So that is it for me. Let me know what you guys think. Please comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. That would be a great help to me. And then we'll move on to our next story. See you soon.
Universe. My name is Ricky, finalist to represent the Netherlands for Miss Universe 2023. I hope y'all had a wonderful Pride Month. For this Pride Month, Miss Universe asked us to describe ourselves in one word. The word I'm choosing is victory. Because as a little boy, I conquered all the things that came through my path. And look at me now, standing here as a strong, empowering, and confident trans woman. Love is love. Be who you want to be. And never forget, always celebrate your pride.
So there you go, guys. You heard it for yourselves. So our second story relates to this individual that we've just watched now, who officially won last week, I believe, won Miss Netherlands. So again, this is a biological male who has transitioned to a female, or thinks at least that they've transitioned into a female, and wants to identify as a woman now. Now, I have a lot of things I need to say that will not be politically correct. Okay, so let me warn you about that right from the get-go. And here is the primary issue that I have with these people. And I think, but before we do that, let's read a little bit more about what the mainstream media has been saying about this person in the first place. Okay, so A trans woman is crowned Miss Netherlands for the first time. So Ricky Valerie Coley, I guess, 22, represent the Netherlands at the 72nd annual Miss Universe pageant in El Salvador later this year. So Ricky Valerie Ricky, well, I don't know, can still hardly believe they won her country's annual pageant. Ricky spent all day on Saturday preparing for and enjoying every moment of the ceremony that night, which was attended by the reigning Miss Universe, the American R. Bonnie Gabriel. I suppose that's the lady there. The show, which started at 8 p.m., flew by, and 2.5 hours later, I was Miss Netherlands. Okay, said in a phone interview on Tuesday, adding that her victory had finally sunk in. Anyways, I can't even keep going on with reading this because of the way they've just they've represented this. This is a biological male, so I'm sorry, I'm going to use those stupid preferred pronouns. And here is why. So, what a lot of people don't know, and the reason why I personally object, is because I don't see how anybody identifying with anything is actually a reflection of reality. Why am I saying it? I am saying it is because let's take a woman. A woman, like several women in my own family who have battled infertility for years, who have spent countless nights crying because they wanted to fall pregnant and they cannot do that. Countless of them have had miscarriages. And let me tell you, they will give anything to identify as fertile, but they can't. Why does this person get to identify? And not only he gets to identify as that, but then he demands that he alone must identify as that, and that we have to buy into this delusion. Those women in my family, in my entourage, who have gone through that, being prodded by going to these visits with the doctor, trying to find out what is wrong, and then being told there's nothing modern medicine can do for them. Those people, these women, cry themselves to sleep at night all the time. And they cannot identify as anything other than what they are, meaning that they cannot physically, biologically, physiologically produce an offspring. They cannot do what their body was designed to do in the first place. Those women still wake up every morning with the weight of the world on their shoulders, knowing that it's going to be a disappointment again, that their dreams are probably never going to come. But this man, because it is what he is, he gets to identify, and then he gets to tell you that this is what he is. And then we have to fall in line. We have to continue with this delusion. This is the problem that I have. And so, yeah, even YouTube, if you listen to this is the problem that I have. And we have this problem because you people continue this delusion. And I don't know who is it that you're helping. I really don't know who it is that you're helping. We don't mean any harm, sorry. We don't mean any harm to this individual. They can do whatever it is that they want. But what we are saying is that we are not going to change reality to fit their feelings. That's not going to happen. There's never going to be any sponsorship deals for these women that I'm talking about, and for the million more from around the world who are facing the same issue, or even the ones who do eventually get pregnant and then have to carry those kids for 9 months, deliver them through incredible pain, when these pregnancy will cause you, you know, permanent changes to their bodies. And yet none of them will claim that they identify as anything because this is the quote unquote, this is who they are. They will never do that. It is laughable. A woman who has had 5 kids and has seen her body change profoundly is not going to wake up and say, well, I identify as a person who never had those things because I don't like what I look like. I have this body dysmorphia or whatever it is. They won't get to do that. They will have to live within the boundaries of reality of what their bodies look like at that point, or what they cannot have. Why does this individual get to decide and then get to force those reality on the rest of us? That is the fundamental problem. And that's why there's never go as long as these people in my life they can't choose to foolishly identify as anything. They can't. They're never going to wake up one morning and say, oh, yes, I identify as a mother now. No, they cannot identify as anything. He doesn't get to decide what the rest of us will say either. So that is the bottom line. We will not bow down, we will not say anything, and we will continue to reject what is being sold to us as if this was the ultimate. This is insanity. And this is why we need to stop this nonsense of identifying. People who are short cannot identify as tall. They don't get to do that. So this is the position, and that's why I believe that this is serious. And none of these so-called feminists these days even question that. Why can you not question that? These people are taking your spot in sport, in beauty pageants, at university level. Why are you defending these people? Things like Title IX of the Civil Rights in America was designed to protect women. What are you all doing? Why are you not speaking up? Why are you not saying enough is enough? We are not going to cede ground to people who are determined to take our spots. When have you seen a biological female win any competition in the men's section? That's never going to happen. So this is why even YouTube, please know, I will never stop talking about that because this hit home. This is very close to home. And you people need to stop pretending that reality is not reality anymore. Stop pretending that. So that's why I will never accept this thing. That's why I will never say call or use these stupid pronouns nonsense that people want them to use. We will never do that. We reject these ideas fundamentally. And we will never bow down, and we will never stop and therefore use language that is not our own, that is not recognized, that is not natural. We will not do that. Get used to it. We will not sacrifice objectivity, rationality on the altar of wokeness. That is not going to happen. We can tell you that flat out right now. So that's my reaction. And I am sick and tired of people like him coming and taking over what many women have worked for their entire lives because some idiot like that exists in the world. So um yeah, so I just won't accept any of this nonsense. And I don't mean that people needs to be mean to this person. I'm just saying that it is insane that we live in this world. Hello everyone and welcome back. So our next story, our next story, people, is a story that's like I don't even know what to make of this nonsense. I really don't know what to make of this. So what happened? Um, Disney has been releasing movies after movies that have flopped at the box office globally, right? So whether we're talking about the latest, what was that again? The Little Mermaid, the live action movie of the Little Mermaid, and a lot of other movies that have not gone, uh, including, for example, Bad Light Here. So a lot of other movies that have just been a flop, right? So in fact, recently it is estimated that Disney has lost close to $1 billion dollars in terms of movies that flopped at the box office. But instead of Disney saying, "Oh, perhaps we should put a pause," just perhaps we should put a pause and try and find out what is our audience telling us by not going and showing up um, at this type of movies in the theaters when we release movies that are so woke that people don't like them. Instead of reflecting and asking themselves questions, what they choose to use to blame you for being stupid and illiterate, and releasing movies that are actually not, even for me, for example, as an African, I think I have done a video on just on how crazy the left wing media is in terms of, for example, Black Panther 2, where they used a lot of, obviously, a lot of cultural elements from Africa, but they have done everything to really denigrate and really bring shame to an entire culture by not actually including elements of the culture that we know. So that's my position when it comes to what Disney has been doing. They've been incorporating a lot of woke ideology, and and now they are preparing to release a new live action, which is a retelling of the story of Snow White, but instead of Snow White that you and I have known for years, these people have done things that are incredibly stupid. Not just be, that is way beyond woke. Utterly stupid. So we're going to see that, and I'm going to react to it, and you will see for yourselves what I mean exactly. So without further ado, let's get into it. So you've seen it for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. So let's read on. Let's read on. So I will set the scene for you. So the Daily Beast. So originally that happened towards the end of last week. So the those pictures that you've just seen were released by the Daily Mail, and the Daily Mail then said, "Well, this is what Disney has been doing. Look at this actress who is, I think she's Colombian American or something along those lines, and she's a Latina woman, and they propped her as the next Snow White. But the issue is that when the Daily Mail released it, Disney came out and said, "No, that's not true. Those pictures are fake." And then the Daily Beast reported that, and they were like, "No, Disney is saying these pictures are fake. They're not from the production." And then once Disney then backtracked that, as you can see in the title, they were like, "Oh shoot, we should not have done it. We should not have said that first." But let's read. Disney initially claimed the picture from the live-action sets were fake, but later backtracked. Okay, so this story has been updated, as you can see, to reflect that Disney's US spokesperson initially declared the photo published by the Daily Mail were fake. The studio later said the photos were from the production, but were not official photos. I'm telling you, this movie is going to flop. This movie is going to flop because Disney still doesn't get the message. We are done watching fake woke movies. But I don't understand why Disney is finding it so hard to understand. So let's carry on. So the Daily Mail on Friday published photo from the set of Disney's upcoming live-action Snow White, sparking a storm, it says, of conservative backlash against the actor, whom the newspaper described as being of different gender, ethnicities, and heights. Asked for comment on the brouhaha, a Disney spokesperson initially told the Daily Beast the photos are fake and not from our production, and then added that the Mouse House wanted a correction from the Mail. Hours later, however, Disney's PR shop completely backtracked and said the photos were from the production but were not official photo, chalking up the earlier statement to a misunderstanding. The Mail did get something wrong, they say. In its initial report, it says that Rachel Zegler and Andrew Burnap were pictured, but later corrected that to clarify that they were not and that stand-ins were used. But that is irrelevant, people. That is irrelevant. The problem here is that they've race swapped. And then also the gender swap to include people of quote unquote all genders. I mean, what the freak is Disney doing? What is Disney doing? And I'm just thinking about it. Spider-Verse. Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, Spider across the Well, I'm just going to show you this movie. This movie that came across the Spider-Verse. Let's see. So with the live action movie of the Little Mermaid, we were told categorically that if you did not support this movie, you were somehow some kind of raging racist for not going along with this woke ideology that is very much anchored in the in their culture now, in Hollywood culture, everywhere. This is what they basically bring forward to you. But look at this. Look at this. This movie was only made with 100 million and then made up 666. Now, This movie, which tells the story of a Spider-Man who is black, because the person who created that, they wanted to retain that. So across the Spider-Verse, the person who made it is the main character is black. But then this one did much, much, much better because people knew that the story, when it was first created, it had nothing to do with the woke ideology of the past, shall we say, 5 to 10 years. It wasn't like that. So he created an entirely different character, sorry. And then they made it interesting. They made the story interesting and people believed it. People believed it. But now they've changed that so much. I mean, it more than recover, because if you consider the fact that it's twice the production budget, so roughly, if you want to have an idea, an estimate, a conservative estimate of the production and, I mean, the total cost, shall we say, of bringing this movie to market. So you have the production cost, for example, which is 100 here, and you usually have twice the production cost plus the advertising cost, for example. So the movie did make some money by that standard, because if you multiply 100 by 2, you get 200, and roughly that's 250. So anything from about 250, you can say that they've made a profit. So it could be from about 100 to about 200 million that they've made producing this movie. But you cannot say the same thing for a movie like The Little Mermaid, which was a disaster in China and everywhere, because Disney doesn't get the message. We are just sick and tired of your woke ideology. We want no part of it. We actually just want you to leave us alone and make good movies. So, as you saw there for yourselves, guys, this is, and then what is crazy is that they've race swapped and they've gender swapped. And also now, you are not even allowed to say dwarf. So now they're calling them magical creatures. Oof, no. I'm guys, no, this is insane. What are This is insane. Magical creatures. We knew so they're telling me that they looked and they couldn't hire a single dwarf actor? Are we to understand that they looked around and they couldn't hire a single dwarf actor? And that now you can't even say dwarf anymore. They want to force you to say little people. It's a medical condition. They are a member of the human race. We will never deny them membership to the human race. They are 100% part of the human race. But then to turn around and to say, well, when you're not going to give roles to people who happen to be dwarf, the opportunity to work, when explicitly in the storyline of this movie was the fact that there were dwarfs. It is insane. What kind of world is it that we're creating now, where we cannot even admit the truth? Things that every single one of us know to be true, but we can't admit that anymore. Where are we going with this? Honestly, where are we going to with this kind of thing? Were there not enough dwarf actors to play the role? I'm sorry, Disney. If you people keep doing it, your your movies will continue to flop. Your movies will continue to flop because we're not gonna go along with this insanity. We just won't. We will not go along with this insanity, with your woke ideology, your woke agenda. Just create good movies. I don't know. I don't understand how hard that is. Just create good movies. Good original movies, original stories that people can buy into, that people can believe. How hard is that? So, like I said, I for one will not go out to watch this kind of garbage because this is absolute garbage. And if they continue like that, they will lose people. And there won't be anybody who wants to go and watch this type of movies. And even if they release it online, we still are not gonna go out. We're still not watching it because this is stupid. This is stupid. You are not doing any favors by to people. Or I'm nearly 40. I've worked with people from everywhere. But nowhere where I was working or I've been working or in my contact, I've seen the same level of this dystopian idea that you have to manufacture diversity and inclusion and equity. In my mind, as far as I'm concerned, I call them the unholy woke trinity. That ain't gonna work, people. That is not going to work. So that's what I have to say about that. I will go and watch this movie when it comes out next year. And if Disney carries on releasing movies that are so stupid, well, that's their problem. But for the rest of us, we are not going to go along with this nonsense. And that is a promise. And it is also the end. Eh? You must tell them we refuse to go along with this nonsense. But anyway, so I appreciate you guys. Let me know what you guys think of this story. Would you go out and pay your hard-earned money to go and watch a garbage like this? Yeah. So please let me know in the comment section, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so that I can keep on bringing you the latest news and my own commentary to it. Until next time, thanks.